seconds, people. Like to call the first meeting of the month of January of 2020 to order. Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Present.
Trustee Arnett?
Present.
Trustee Mills?
Present.
Trustee Newell?
Present.
Trustee Palafis?
Present.
Trustee Stanton?
Present.
Mayor McLeod?
Present. Trustee Gady, can you lead us in the pledge? Can everybody please rise?
Be honored. Thank you.
This meeting, as all our public meetings, is being telecast live and will be reshown on our cable channels throughout the week. At this time, with the leave of the board, I'd like to go out of order because we are very honored to have State Representative Fred Crespo with us here today, and he's going to make a special presentation to one of our police officers. Representative Crespo.
Well, good evening, Mayor. Thank you very much. It's nice to be back home. I can tell you that the last 15 years, I wake up in the morning, and sometimes I'm sad because I haven't been sitting up there for 15 years now. So I miss sitting up there with all of you. Thank you for having me here today. And just to put things in context, if I may, I'd like to read bits and pieces of an email that I received from a Hoffman Estates resident back in August. And this resident went out to Mariano's with her husband, her father-in-law, and her dad, and both her father-in-law and her dad were sitting behind in the back seat of the car. And she states, we got out of the car, and my husband helped my father, who's 80 plus, and came around to help his father, who's also 80 plus, get out of the car. As my father-in-law was slowly getting out, we'll call this gentleman Mr. G, because I want to say who he was. There was a Mr. G started backing into the parking spot right next to us. My husband tried to tell him, please stop, thinking he might not have a backup camera, and the driver would not stop. Her husband then this person, Mr. G, got closer, got his father safely out of the driver's way, then tried to help her dad. Mr. G was clearly seen on his driver's side mirror but would not stop. They asked him again to please take it easy and slow down, at which point he started waving and shouting at me as I was walking away. I heard him shout, blank off, go the blank back to your country. This is my country. We rushed away from this aggressive man who was clearly trying to run a senior citizen and a woman with the intent of a hate crime. We crossed the street, and as we tried to get our 80-plus-year-old parents to safety, he and his partner would not get out of the car, rolled down the window, and kept shouting. He then got out of his car, and while shouting racist comments, mooned me. I called the cops. As his partner got out of the car, started taking pictures of our car while he sat and blocked access to our car. We were intimidated to even approach and move our car away to safety and take our parents away from a clearly unsafe and distressful situation. The police came and arrested him on charges of hate crime and indecent exposure. We would like to take a moment to commend the empathy, professionalism, and kindness demonstrated by the officers who responded. While we still fear for the safety, we feel confident that exceptional officers of Hoffman Estates Police Department will do their best to try and protect the citizens of Hoffman Estates, and we would appreciate it if your office could acknowledge the officers for their support. And that's why I'm here today. And I wish I could say that this is an isolated incident. But we've heard about these cases in the past year or two, maybe three. We've heard about a restaurant in a neighborhood not too far from here where diners asked the people who worked at the restaurant to move people sitting next to them because they were black. Just recently, we heard about a school not too far from us who had a swastika painted on it. And like a year and a half ago, we heard in the Cook County Forest Preserve Department, a young lady who was verbally attacked by a man because she had a shirt with a Puerto Rican flag. And what really kills me was that there was a police officer standing right next to them, and he did not do a thing. And that's why I think it's really important that we acknowledge the policemen here in Hoffman Estates. When we were confronted with bigotry, injustice, and hate speech, I hope we stand up, step in, and do the right thing, and that's what our police officers did. And in closing, I want to tell you, back in, I think, August of 2018, I was out on a ride-along with the Hoffman Estates Police. I try to do this once every year, year and a half. And I was out with this cop, this police officer. He had all kinds of incidents. He had domestic issues, stalled cars, crashes, and he did such a fantastic job. I remember going home that night and telling my wife, this guy was phenomenal. Well, it just turns out it's Josh who's here. It's one of the police officers that we're honoring today, so I'm not surprised at all. There are two police officers. One is Pat Patla. Unfortunately, Pat has some family issues, so he couldn't be here today. But we do have Officer Joshua Slonowski, and I do have a recognition from the state that reads as follows. In recognition, his devoted service to ensure the well-being and safety of all Hoffman Estates residents, Officer Slonowski recently responded to a heinous incident in which a local family was verbally and visually harassed for the color of their skin. Officer Slonowski's appropriate handling of the situation and his acts of kindness and empathy toward the family demonstrated the enduring values of our community. I think he also represents what a great village board we have. You guys do a fantastic job in vetting these candidates and hiring these police officers. So kudos to you too. And I would ask Josh if you can come up here.
Don't go away, Josh.
You can start over
Come up
here.
too, Fred.
Congratulations. Thanks for your excellence.
Nice job.
Thank you.
You want us to bring another chair?
That's right. You want to sit up here with us?
If I could turn back time.
Why rush away? You're already here. Took my chair.
There, Fred.
You get a raise. Maybe not. Uh-oh. Okay. I think I got you back. All right. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more, please. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go away, Josh. Hey, can I get the chiefs up here? Come on, I got 3 chiefs. Let's get them up here.
You're going to be right in the middle, aren't you?
You got 3 chiefs and 1 Indian, Josh. Hey, what are you going to do?
Everybody's taller than
Yeah, get in there, Fred.
It's going to be tricky.
The Village of Hoffman Estates is proud to present the Certificate of Appreciation to Officer Joshua Slobonsky on Monday, January 6th, in recognition of his outstanding service during a distressing and uncalled-for incident on August 11, 2019, involving 2 individuals who conducted themselves in a dangerous and hateful manner toward residents, Dr. Ravi and Kavita Mohan, and their fathers. Officer Blonsky is an exemplary employee who clearly values Hoffman Estates and his commitment to serving and protecting its citizens at all times. Thank you for all you do.
Find a window.
You're good. Over here. Okay, I got it. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. Here, can you tilt the top of that towards me just a tiny bit? A little bit more. A little bit more. Make it.
That's just too tall.
There you go. Yeah. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. And then one more, please. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice job. It's a tribute to our police department, and I really thank Representative Crespo for bringing this forward. Obviously, our Fire and Police Commission does a great job of vetting the candidates, and the police department does a great job of training them and making sure they know what their job is. So thank you all. At this point, with the leave of the board, I'll go back to recognition of the audience. This is the time if someone wants to speak on an issue that's not on the agenda, now's the time to come forward. If you want to speak, come on up.
Yes, we have new business for the board. My name is Rich Bodner. This is my wife Sharon. We have lived in Hoffman Estates 32 years on the same property at 1766 Highland Boulevard. It is the second house on the property. We lost the first home due to water damage in 2010. And this was about 6 months after our neighbor built a large garage and cemented over the drainage easement. However, this year, I built a French drain because there was an enormous amount of water in May. In May 2019, I called the water department, and Ricky of the water department came out, looked over the fence, and said, "This is a code issue. Everything is cemented over there, so all the water drains into your yard through large high-velocity pipes, and that's what's flooding your yard." And they cemented over the drainage ditch illegally. I built the French drain in July of this year. I filed a work order 7 months ago on May 17th. And then we still began having water problems this fall. And Sharon and I contacted Mayor McLeod and arranged a meeting about November 1st, I believe, with Mayor McLeod, Village Manager Norris, and Chief Engineer Alan Wendersky. At that meeting, we presented a lengthy letter with questions on it. It's approximately 7 to 10 pages, giving some of the history of the property. And we asked for an inspection because we had this strong smell of sewage in the property, E. coli bacteria coming into the property, as well as coliform and oily substances on top of the property. Why? My home was built in 1975. The subdivision was built in 1960. My land was not inhabitable until then. The road went across my front yard and across 4 front yards in the neighborhood. This was found out when we were rebuilding the home in 2011 by our surveyor. They notified the city that there are sewage pipes going across the front yard at that time. The village had to move Highland Boulevard out 50 feet closer to the lake in order to keep it from falling into a bog that existed there. And our property was built, and it was being used for construction of the rest of the subdivision for 15 years, I believe, from the 1960 and 1975 when our first house was built. We had water damage, lost that house. We lost $300,000, our life savings, and we received only 10% from our insurance company. And Fred Crespo, staff, Leonard helped us on this, filing the insurance claim, et cetera, and we do appreciate that. Distinguished board members, we went to the village Mayor McLeod November 1st of this year to talk about our work order that we submitted in May 17th. The code violations that the water department said, this is a code issue. I'm bringing this up and reporting it to code. That's the village water department reporting it to the code department, saying there are code violations next door. No inspection was made. Instead, I was told to build the French drain, which I did in the 4th of July week, 4th of July. And since then, we've had water departments, went to the mayor, delivered a letter with questions. I was told by the chief engineer, Alan Wendersky, that he had not come out to the property because he was working on answers to those questions for the mayor. We've not received those answers. The mayor asked me to bring it up in this trustee meeting. If he would develop those, give us a copy of those answers. We found out when we were building the house, rebuilding the house, the second house on the property in 2011. It had been used for construction as a construction drop-off site, large amounts of lumber to build a subdivision, large amounts of concrete, etc. We uncovered curbstones when excavating the property, curbstones of Highland Boulevard. There was massive amounts of cement buried, wooden refuse buried, and construction material buried on the property. That is illegal by building code in the United States of America, in any state. You're not allowed to bury construction property because it disrupts drainage, okay? We're getting this water. My next door neighbor told me that she has water in her crawl space today. And since November 1st, over 2 months, we have not had an inspection. The purpose of my wife and I being here, we are 10 minutes away from Village Hall. May we please have an inspection, Mayor? We had a inspection set up with a water department to do dye testing on December 1st. They were going to determine the source of the water and source of the sewage that is being entered onto my property and Edith's property, my next door neighbor. And that was canceled by the chief engineer, Alan Wendersky. Since then, we do not understand why the village will not come out to inspect the property, which is 10 minutes away from here. For Christmas, we had 2 feet of water in a ditch adjacent in my backyard next to this large garage where that resident cemented over the drainage ditch or the drainage easement. Okay, we were told by the chief engineer to come on the property. He needed written permission from me and my next door neighbor, Edith. We gave him that permission in November, when he asked for it within 2 days. Still, he did not come out, or no inspector from the Village of Hoffman Estates came out. Sewage is being leaked on the property. I know the smell of sewage when I smell it. There is oil on the property, oil on the water, floating on top of the water. Just yesterday, there was ice had formed, and it had formed like a spider web over the water ditch, and that was because there are different viscosities in the oil, and it will not freeze uniformly because contaminants are in the water. When the property was used as a construction drop-off site, items were buried in the property. We know of that. Curbstones and asphalt from the old Highland Boulevard. The remains of sewer pipe goes across our front yard, and the front yard of 4 homes. 3 out of the 4 homes that I know of have had water damage. The 4th home is a employee of the village here, and I do not know about that one.
What are you looking for, sir?
Looking for an inspection of the sewer pipe, and I was told that by the neighbor that there is a broken pipe on her side of the fence, okay? And we know that on the neighbor's garage, there's an enormous amount of water, creating a 2-foot ditch
Okay,
full of
Mr.
water.
Gugliotti, you know anything about this? I mean, we met, and the question, I think, was that we couldn't really determine everything until spring because of the condition of the ground. Do you know anything?
I
on this?
have contacted Alan Wendersky. He told us to get a letter of permission to enter the property, which we have. We've provided that.
Okay.
He had canceled dye testing by the village water department.
Okay, Mr. Norris has
My wife
something
has
from,
something.
Sir, I just wanted to add something really briefly. Because of the horrible mold problem and what we went through with that, any type of mold in the vicinity is a little bit scary. And then when I heard today that Edith next door, he has water in their crawl space, that's pretty concerning because that could definitely start black mold as well. And in the spring, her little kid, and she's got, I think they're like 3 and 9 or 4 and 9, around that age. They had a trampoline there. It was sitting in water. I know the spring and summer were pretty wet at the beginning, but lately it hasn't been that wet, and we still had all this water, even though it was not on the surface of our yard so much. It was definitely really, really saturated. All we really want is to make sure that everything is safe and there's nothing broken and nothing poisoning our area.
okay, Mr. Norris, you have anything from Alan Wendersky?
So Mr. Wendersky and others of the village staff met with Mr. Bodner on the 19th of November as a follow-up to the meeting that the mayor and I and Mr. Wendersky had. And there are a variety of things. There's 3 pages of notes that Alan sent to me. Part of it was trying to get permission from the neighbor at 1764 to go out and look at the property. We can go out and look at the property now. We have been on the property in May of 19, looking at some of the same issues. I can have Alan go out and look at the property today. What we talked about in the meeting in the mayor's office was waiting till springtime, making sure that if the groundwater had froze or winter conditions, obviously it's been unseasonably warm the last couple of weeks, but we didn't expect that when we met in November, that we would go out and we'd review all the issues, and literally Mr. Bodner gave us a 6-page letter. We condensed that to 3 pages of notes and follow-up items that we're going to follow up on, and we'll do so. It's just that the timing more than anything at this point.
May I have a copy of that response to our questions on our...
It's an internal document to me, Mr. Bodner, so no. I will formally respond to you once we've inspected.
The issue has become the oil and pollutants that are in the water now.
You're talking about the groundwater.
There are pollutants in the water right now, including sewage, bacteria, and E. coli. And it is a health emergency. 3 out of 4 houses on our block have had water damage and mold. And I am asking for help from the village to come out and inspect. There has been no one from the village since our meeting over 2 months ago. No one has come out on our property to look. The water department on May 17th was so alarmed at the code violations of our next door neighbor when he built this large garage and cemented over the drainage easement that they reported it to code. No one was assigned by code to inspect it, okay? It's been difficult. We live 10 minutes away from there. We would welcome any board member or the mayor, village manager, chief engineer, the water department there. We had an appointment with the water department. It was canceled by the village 10 minutes before they were due to arrive. 10 minutes till 8 on a Monday morning. I was waiting for them to arrive.
Mr. Gugliotti, you know anything about any of this?
There is obviously a very long history, and our staff has had many discussions with Mr. Bodnar. The village engineer, Al Wenderski, is very familiar with the drainage on this property. And as Mr. Norris said, we can set up inspections and go out and take a look, but we're not going to be able to do anything productive until we are confident that the weather is proper. The ground is saturated, yes. I mean, it was a very wet year, but we can look at it. In the past, we certainly have followed up on requests, and I know there's been many discussions. I have not been personally in all those meetings. I know Mr. Norris has been in some, but our engineer has talked to Mr. Bodnar extensively about these details.
So the plan would be to go out in the spring?
The broken pipe is
Mayor, we'll go
now.
out this week. To satisfy Mr. Bodnar, we'll go out this
Okay,
week.
no, that sounds
We're just not convinced, based upon what we think it could be, that we're going to be able to find anything definitive until later on this spring.
The neighbor reported a broken pipe to me, Edith, and she has got water in her crawl space. She said, when is the village going to come out? When we are flooded from the snow? She provided written permission. I provided written permission to the engineer to come out. That is on file. And she said to me just yesterday, if our house was on fire, would we need written permission for the fire department to come out?
No.
I checked the code, and the code says any authorized village employee has the right to go on your property to inspect it at any time. I talked with Ray Norton, your code officer. A letter or of approval to come on your property is not necessary. They come out on the property to inspect, okay? I'm asking this to be done. We're residents of 32 years. I know the smell of sewage when I smell it.
Mr. Norris had indicated that the village will be out there and take a look at it.
Okay.
The pipe must be found. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for hearing us.
Thanks for coming forward. We
Thank
appreciate
you, honorable trustees.
it. Okay, does anybody else in recognition of the audience want to come forward with anything? It's not on the agenda? If not, we'll move on to approval of the minutes of the December 16th, 2019 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, there's a second. Any questions on the minutes? See none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it, motion carried.
I will abstain.
Okay, note the abstention. We'll move on to consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Motion for the omnibus vote on that for the A and B.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion to second. The items on the omnibus vote are A, approval of the agenda, and B, approval of the schedule of bills for January 6, 2020 in the amount of $3,644,267.04. This is a correction from the posted notice that was on the website. This is a correction of what the actual amount is. Any questions on this? Can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Move on to President's Report. We have proclamations, Madam Clerk?
I have the first one.
Yay.
Whereas exemplary public service employment is of vital importance in assuring provision of services directed toward the health, welfare, and safety of the citizens of any community. And whereas the police department has upon its roster an individual who should be commended for assisting said department in faithfully serving the citizens of this community. And whereas length of service coupled with continued training and positive attitude toward assigned job tasks make a profile of this dedicated employee. And whereas the Village of Hoffman Estates, on behalf of its citizens, desires to acknowledge its indebtedness and gratitude for 30 years of dedication and proficiency in the aforementioned department. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and laws of this Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaims Sunday, January 19th, 2020, as Ron Gadd Day, in the Village of Hoffman Estates and urges all employees and citizens of the village to join us in expressing gratitude and appreciation to this employee who may have assisted them with outstanding service.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second, we appreciate the great job Ron has done. We went to the same grammar school, St. Daniel the Prophet, the southwest side of the city of Chicago. And Ron always says we went to school together, though I'm quite a bit older than him. It must take me a long time to get through grammar school. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it, motion carried. Chief? I'll give Ron our thanks. And he'll be retiring soon, I understand. A couple of weeks. Yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Okay, who's next?
I am. Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas, the purpose of Mental Wellness Month is to highlight the importance of taking care of our mental health to maintain or improve quality of life and to prevent mental health problems from developing. And whereas emotional, cognitive, and social well-being can be negatively affected by a variety of factors like work, school, relationships, financial problems, excess stress, physical health problems, systematic oppression, and imagination. And whereas many of the problems related to mental health can be prevented or reduced if addressed early. Whereas often lack of awareness and lack of knowledge about where to seek services leads to the development of exasperation of mental health problems. And whereas promotion of mental wellness and mental health programs could benefit the residents of the Village of Hoffman Estates, who represent a diverse cross-section of the American public, contribute to rising public awareness and knowledge regarding mental awareness. Whereas this knowledge may encourage the residents of Village of Hoffman Estates to take a proactive approach to maintain or improve mental wellness and to be aware of the mental health public services available to them in the community to be utilized at the time of need. Be it therefore resolved that William D. McLeod, acting under and by virtue of the authority vested in him by the Constitution of the State of Illinois and the laws of the Village of Hoffman Estates, hereby proclaim January 2020 as Mental Wellness Month in the Village of Hoffman Estates, and hereby encourage all citizens, government agencies, business leaders, hospitals, schools, public and private institutions in the Village of Hoffman Estates to promote awareness of mental wellness support programs and policies that advocate mental wellness and provide opportunities for all to participate in the education to expand the awareness of the importance of optimal emotional well-being.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have a motion carried. Dr. Savigi will accept this. We appreciate the great work your department does. Thank you. We already had the presentation by State Representative Crespo. So we'll move on to a couple of things. Appointments, Linda Dressler to the Economic Development Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Motion carried. And Linda Dressler to the Platts Concert Committee.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Motion carried. One resignation, Sandra Jensen from the Arts Commission.
So moved with regrets.
Second.
There's a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Motion carried. We do had a great loss in the community with the passing of Dale Basil. Dale and Barb lived in Hoffman Estates for a very long time, and Barb passed away earlier, and Dale just passed away this past month. And he was very active with the Veterans Commission, and she was on the Disabled Commission, and they gave a lot of service to our community. So we really regret his passing. We haven't met in a while, so let's see what's been going on. Okay. On Tuesday, the 17th, Gigi's Playhouse came here caroling. They had a great group from that. We had a senior citizens, the life and work of Charles Dickens going on that day also. And on Wednesday, the 18th, we had the Legislative Committee meeting of the Northwest Municipal Conference. And we had Chamber Holiday Luncheon and Wine Wednesday at Rookies. And on the 19th, we had a census roundtable at the Schaumburg Township District Library that I was able to participate in, that Commissioner Morrison put on. And on the 22nd, we watched the Bears lose. Sort of a recurring theme. We had a great holiday. The kids were all over. We had a great time. I hope everybody else did too. And let's have the Economic Development Commission meeting this afternoon. The Police Explorers graduation. Man, they got a lot of explorers. I'm very pleased with the job that Lisa Tornicola and the police do on the Explorers. These are people who are interested in public service in the police department, and we've had people who've become police officers out of this. Also, I'd like to note that Mayor Leon Rockingham Jr., the president of the Illinois Municipal League, has appointed Arthur Janura, municipal attorney, to the Illinois Municipal League's Home Rule Advisory Commission, and he's also appointed Jim Norris to the Municipal League's Municipal Managers Committee. So congratulations, both of you guys. We appreciate all the work you do. Thank you very much.
What do we say?
What's another thing? What's another thing?
I think I've been on about 14 years.
Yeah.
It's a life sentence. Okay, move on to trustee comments. Trustee Gata. What's up?
Okay. Let's see. On Wednesday, December 18th, attended the Hoffman Estates Chamber Holiday Luncheon at the NIU Conference Center with Mayor McLeod, Trustee Karen Mills, and the village manager, Jim Morris. Also that evening, we had Wine Wednesday at Rookies. Then on Tuesday, the 31st, the informal swearing-in of 3 probation police officers here at Village Hall. And the only other thing I have in here is to congratulate, the Police Explorers graduation. Boy, what a good-looking bunch of young people that is. And especially thank you to Lisa, the person that's in charge, for doing a great job with all these young people. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Newell.
Well, very quick. Hopefully everyone had a good holiday, whatever you celebrated, and then Happy New Year, welcome back, and congrats to the graduated Explorers, another large group this year. So, thank you, everyone.
Great. Trustee Palafis.
Not to be too repetitive, but congratulations to Officer Lisa, Joe, Matt, and Gary for another year of success with a fantastic group of explorers. It's admirable that our community and our staff enables our young adults to find and pursue their passions through that group. And you can tell they just love it, and how much joy they get out from each other, being together. Also, many thanks to Officer Cheblinowski. Did I get close? And your colleague, Patla, for all of the excellence that you both performed for your award. We're just honored to be called, side by side with you in this season. Well, that's all for me.
Thank you. Trustee Mills.
Pretty much the same thing. First of all, Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome to 2020. And as the mayor said, on the 17th of December, we had the senior breakfast here at the Village Hall. On the 18th was the Chamber Volunteer Holiday Luncheon. Nice. And that evening, I had also attended the Northwest Mosquito Abatement District meeting. On the January 3rd, Manager Norris and I, who were both on the committee for the Chamber Celebration of Excellence meeting that was held that morning, and reminding everybody we're going to have a great dinner on Thursday, January 30th, and awards will be given out that night in various categories. Tonight, as we've said, was the Police Explorer graduation. We had a great group of kids in there, probably the largest one we've ever had, and our congratulations to them, and thank you to Lisa and the rest of the officers that have helped with that. And one final thing, I want to send a thank you out to Mark Copland. I think this is our last board meeting with you. And I want to thank you for everything you've done for the village over the years. Well, We're not going to get rid of you that quick, but thank you for everything. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Trustee Stanton.
Well, thanks for reminding us, Karen, about that. Mark, congratulations on your upcoming retirement. Yeah, we will miss you, although we know you're going to be around a little bit further as well. Happy New Year to one and all, and that's about it from me.
Okay, Trustee Arnett.
Happy New Year to everybody, and again, congratulations to all the explorers for tonight, and thank you for the PD and for all of the village staff for actually promoting this program and keeping it going for all these years. They do a really great job, and thank you guys so much, and congratulations to the officers tonight. Couldn't have asked for a better pair of people. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Move on to 6C, Village Manager's Report.
So the cat is out of the bag about Mark, huh?
Sorry.
Well,
Say the rest of it, though.
probably in my 38 years in municipal government, I would say that Mark Copland is one of the most irreplaceable public employees I've ever had the pleasure of working with. And he's going to be greatly missed, and I wish him nothing but health and happiness. I know his wife, Ann, would kill him and then me if he agreed to be extended any longer. But we have replaced Mark, at least in title, starting the day after Mark retires. Peter Gugliotta, who's our current Director of Planning and Code, will become the Director of Development Services. So life does go on, but Mark, you'll definitely be missed.
Thank you. Move on to 6D, Village Clerk's Report.
During the month of December, 118 FOIAs went through this building, and we processed 38 passports, and 38 might seem a lot for a month, but we've already done 35 in the month of January.
Wow.
It's been crazy. These people are like, oh, the kids are going back to school. We got to go on spring break. And they're coming in like there's no tomorrow. So the girls have been very, very busy. I waited a long time for that, but yeah, that'll be another one of my columns, the real ID. Get your information together. If you don't know what it is, we've got it on our website. Go to the Secretary of State website, get in there and expect to wait. Bring a book. Bring a book.
Extra hours.
Yeah, but I don't know if Schaumburg or Lake Zurich has opened them. I thought I would make it easy by going to Lake Zurich. Bad move. Bad move. My girls went to Schaumburg and got out much quicker than I did. Still had to wait, but yeah, it was kind of crazy at Lake Zurich. Yeah. So good luck. That's it.
Thank you. Move on to committee reports, General Administration Personnel, Trustee Arnett.
Thank you. On January 13th, we will call the General Administration and Personnel Committee for the Village of Hoffman Estates, and we will begin with a roll call, followed by the approval of minutes for December 9th, 2019. If there's anything in new business, we will go ahead and conduct that. We'll move on to the reports for information only. Number 1 would be the Cable TV Monthly Report. Number 2 is the Human Resources Management Monthly Report. Number 3 would be the Legislative Operations and Outreach Monthly Report, which is the deferral requested. We'll then move into the President's Report. If there's anything in other or items in review, then we will call for an adjournment.
Thank you. Transportation and Road Improvement, Trustee Mills.
Transportation and Road Improvement will also meet on January 13th, immediately following General Administration and Personnel. After the roll call and approval of minutes, there's one item under new business. Request approval of 2 IDOT resolutions to appropriate motor fuel tax funds for A, the 2020 Street Revitalization Project in an amount not to exceed $2,100,000, and B, 2020 Traffic Signal Maintenance and Opticom repairs in an amount not to exceed $110,000. We will have report for information only from the Transportation Division, and then followed by President's Report if there is still one, and we have no items in review. We will then adjourn.
Okay, thank you. Planning, Building, and Zoning, Trustee Stanton.
Thank you. Following Transportation, Road, and Improvement Committee, we'll have a roll call and have a quorum, hopefully, and then from there, we have approval of the minutes for December 9th, 2019. After that is new business. We have one item, request approval to direct staff to work with MI Homes to transfer the deed of the Bergman property to the Hoffman Estates Park District. And by Bergman, I mean the house property. And then we have reports for information only, the Planning Division Monthly Report, the Code Enforcement Division monthly report, and third is the Economic Development and Tourism monthly report. There is a president's report listed, and then there's no items in review, and then we will adjourn.
Thank you, Trustee Stanton. We'll move on to 7, Planning and Zoning Commission report. Chairperson Combs, come on down.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Planning and Zoning Commission recommended for approval a request by Omar Puskar, owner, and Cal Noman, applicant, for a variation from Section 9-3-6-K-1 of the zoning code to allow a garage that's approximately 293 square feet instead of the minimum required 440 square feet on the property located at 335 Glendale Lane with 3 conditions. Vote was 10 ayes, 1 absent.
Chair will accept a motion.
Second.
There's a motion second. Any questions on this item?
I'm wondering how they would have gotten a 2-car garage on their property as it is.
That was the issue. There's no way he would have had to take away from the house.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? See nothing else, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried.
Planning and Zoning Commission recommended for approval a request by Deshow BSM LLC owner and Vequity LLC applicant for a special use under Section 9-8-2-C-1 of the zoning code and a preliminary and final site plan to permit an automobile service station on the property located at 2250 West Higgins Road with 10 conditions. The vote was 10 ayes, 1 absent.
Chair will accept a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any questions? Trustee Mills?
Yeah, I do have one question for the petitioner, and I think this is a question that came up during your hearing, had to do with the facade facing Governor's Lane, and the petitioner at that point said that they're going to be adding some spandrel glass to that elevation.
Right.
Do we know how that's going to be done, or what it's going to look like at all?
Can you identify yourself for the record, sir, name and address?
Good evening. My name is Ivan Nokov with Vequity LLC. And yes, we did agree to add spandrel glass windows to the back of the facade. In essence, it's 2 double pane windows
Okay.
on the back of the facade facing Governor Lane.
Okay, and landscaping in front of the,
Landscaping.
all right,
The
because
whole
that is
site
an entrance to a
landscaped,
lot
yes.
of homes there, so
Yes.
I was concerned about that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The gas stations, you're going to have 6 stalls, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and there's never been a gas station in that corner before. It's always been a McDonald's, at least while I've been around. And so they have to dig out all the requirements that meet IDOT approval and everything else?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
State Fire Marshal.
State Fire Marshal and
Absolutely.
Okay. That's it.
Trustee Gata?
Yeah, what brand of fuel is going to be the gas station?
I'm not 100% at the moment. They are going through rebranding, but it would be either a 7-Eleven fuel or Mobil or Exxon.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Anything else? See nothing else, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. Move on to 8, additional business. 8A, request board approval of an ordinance granting a special use amendment to Deshow BSM LLC owner and Winston Knowles Foundation applicant 2353 Hassel Road. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's a motion, a second. Any questions on this item? Seeing no questions, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
No.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
Aye, motion carried. 8B, request board approval of an ordinance approving a tax increment redevelopment plan and project for the Higgins Old Sutton redevelopment project area in the village of Hoffman Estates, Cook and Kane counties. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is a second. Any questions on this item? Seeing no questions, can you pull the board, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata?
Aye.
Trustee Arnett?
Aye.
Trustee Mills?
Aye.
Trustee Newell?
Aye.
Trustee Palafis?
Aye.
Trustee Stanton?
Aye.
Mayor McLeod?
No. Motion carried. 8C, request board approval of an ordinance designating the Higgins Old Sutton redevelopment project area in the Village of Hoffman Estates, Cook and Kane Counties, Illinois, a redevelopment project area pursuant to the Illinois Tax Increment Allocation Redevelopment Act. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions on this item? Seeing none, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
No. Motion carried. Move on to 8D, request board approval of an ordinance adopting the use of tax increment allocation redevelopment financing for the Higgins Old Sutton redevelopment project area in the Village of Hoffman Estates, Cook and Kane Counties, Illinois. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Any questions on this item? Seeing none, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
No. Motion carried. We'll move on to adjournment report number 9, executive session. For what reasons, Trustee Mills?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn into executive session for the purposes of collective bargaining, 5 ILCS 120/2C2, and review of closed session meeting minutes, 5 ILCS 120/2C21.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion. There's a second. Any questions on this? Seeing none, can you call the roll, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Gata.
Aye.
Trustee Arnett.
Aye.
Trustee Mills.
Aye.
Trustee Newell.
Aye.
Trustee Palafis.
Aye.
Trustee Stanton.
Aye.
Mayor McLeod.
Aye, motion carried. We will not come back into open session this evening. Thank you very much.